Is it difficult to change nurse specialties after you graduate? Hmm. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Daily Sean. For those of you who haven't been here before, my name is Sean. I do a daily video on something related to nursing. No rhyme or reason. Probably not going to change. Weekly YouTube live. YouTube Hey Sean live. Got a couple housekeeping things. We're going to let the live feed roll in a bit here. Lots of changes happening on the home front as well as the professional front. Talking about nursing specialties and changing your plan. Changing where you want to end up. Changing from one area of nursing to another area of nursing after graduation. Has anybody ever changed their mind? Yeah, that'd be me. I've changed my mind. Thankfully, I changed my mind early in my career and luckily knew early in my career what I wanted to be when I grew up as a nurse and where I wanted to end up. Where I plan on probably retiring if things go the way I want them to. This is from a question, I think this is from either a newer nurse or maybe it's from a nursing student. And it probably stems from some of the things that I may or may not have recommended in the past. I have recommended that you need to pick your lane before you start, or you need to have some sort of a plan by the time you graduate, because you need to set your footing. You need to figure out where you want to go. Now, a lot of this is completely dependent on your geographical location, as well as, I don't know, interests, job market. There's a lot of things that influence your decisions on where you want to end up once you get out there in the nursing world. We're going to talk about my experiences, and then we can maybe field some questions from the live feed here. Jason, thanks for joining me. So when I was a baby nurse, should I say before I even thought about being a nurse, I was a certified athletic trainer for over a decade. Nursing was my third career, yes. One, two, three. Third career. I did not know what I wanted to be when I grew up, sadly. And while I regret not making the decision earlier in my lifetime, I probably wouldn't change the path I took. A lot of things happened that probably would not have happened had I decided to become a nurse right out of high school or shortly thereafter. Was a certified athletic trainer, and then sometime towards the end of my career, not only was I getting burned out, but I had gotten injured, ended up in the hospital. Long story even longer, I decided to enter the world of nursing after the care I received from a male nurse. Dun, dun, dun. Ended up going into nursing school, and at the time, I thought I was going to be a med-surg or orthopedic nurse. While I was in school, I did the med-surg rotation and realized, oh my God, that is not where I want to end up as a nurse. I didn't find any enjoyment in that. In fact, I felt quite miserable. So those of you who work med-surg, I bow to you because I could not do that job. Went through the program and had an interest in OB. Yeah, I had an interest in OB for a while, and that was through a suggestion of one of my professors at the time. And then I had my critical care rotation. All bets were off after that. I caught the bug. I was hooked, addicted. It was exactly what I was looking for. Now, maybe I take that back, because I did an ER rotation, and the ER I just wasn't feeling it. It just wasn't for me. So, ended up in the ICU, worked in the ICU for about a year, and then had the opportunity to go work in the operating room. John says, John's the one who actually asked the question, and he says he's not even a nursing student yet, just trying to get as much info as he can before he makes a career change. Respect. That is called doing your homework, John. Strong work. So I was a nurse for about a year and had the opportunity to try the operating room or to work in the orthopedic world one more time. And I did it for another 6 months. I left the ICU, worked in this place for about 6 months, and discovered that it wasn't for me again, a second time, and went back to the ICU world. Ended up staying in the ICU for the remainder of my career to this point. I flirted with travel nursing. I flirted with recovery room, PACU, supervise. Okay, let's just say I pretty much have done everything. I've been around the block a few times. And every time I changed my path, or every time I tried to go outside of my home, which was the ICU, I always ended up reeling back into the place that I love the most. And I'm lucky that I knew exactly what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be, and how I wanted to live my career. So John's asking, what do you do if you change your mind halfway through, or once you graduate? You've graduated, you started working in a specific specialty, and then something tells you that it's not what you wanted. It's not what you thought it would be, and you want something else. What happens? Well, the first thing you got to think about is that changing specialties is hard no matter where you are, what you're doing, how long you've been doing it. I will follow it up with, it will be easier to change your specialty if you're early in your career. And I don't want to give I give a random number. Maybe it's less than 2 years. I don't know. 5, 2, 1. The less you've been set in one area of nursing, the easier it will be to try something else, to transition into something else. You got to think of it this way. If you don't use it, you lose it. So if you want to go from critical care to the med-surg floor, there's going to be things about med-surg that I am not going to know or remember. Like doing, one thing that came up this past week was peritoneal dialysis. I have minimal experience with peritoneal dialysis. Like zippo, zero, zilch. So I would struggle with that. And vice versa. If you were a med-surg nurse for 6 months to a year, 2 years, and you decided to jump into the emergency critical care arena, the learning curve is steep. So you're going to have to learn a lot of things. I guess what it comes down to is your marketability and your hireability. Is this facility going to hire you with little to no experience? Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to get hired. It's just you're going to compete with other candidates who probably have some experience or who are fresh in their career. It will become very difficult if you've been working in one specialty for 5 years and you want to completely go on the opposite end of the pole. It's not something you can't do. It's not something you can't accomplish. But it is going to take a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of digging to get to that point, to go from one area of nursing to another, to completely go to the other end of the spectrum. Nurses do it all the time. I know many nurses that have hopscotched from one area of nursing to another, trying to find their place in their career. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you gotta think about your top 3 places that you would want to end up. And why are those top 3 why did you choose those top 3? And then choose the three specialties that you absolutely would not do. That no matter how great the pay was, how great the location was, how awesome the coworkers were, how great the schedule was, that no matter how perfect in every way the job was, that you would not work in that environment. You have to think of your top three and your bottom three, and then you can use those as your rudder, your steer and your rudder, your oars. We're going to go with oars. Let's go with oars. We're going to go with oars. We're rowing. We're rowing, folks. You want to use those as your oars in whatever direction you're going to go in your career. There are a lot of things that are going to crop up in your career, and you have to develop the self-awareness of what you enjoy, what you don't like, what you're good at, and what you're interested in. And all those things, you got to throw those into a pot and figure out where your place is in this profession. The really cool thing is there's a bazillion options out there. A bazillion. It really is only limited by your lifestyle, your choices, and what you're willing to do or put up with. I mean, you could do travel. Travel nursing is good once you get your base experience. I will say you definitely want to get a year or two experience anywhere in nursing. I don't care where. Inpatient, at the bedside, you need to get close to 2 years of experience before you decide to travel. And I'm telling you that from experience, because when you do travel nursing, you hit the ground running. All right, let's open it up to the comment section here. I had a boatload of comments in the beginning of the broadcast here. So let's go. Trevor asked why I didn't like the ER. I didn't like I guess probably I didn't like the kind of pace. I was interested in more. Now I know ER is treat 'em and street 'em and full adrenaline. There was a lot of parts of the ER that I really didn't like the sniffles and all of the drunks and and I hate to say it, and this is horrible for me to say out loud, but I don't like dealing with psych patients because I'm horrible at it. I'm really horrible at it. And psych patients are very common in the ED. So I had the self-awareness to know I would not want to do that. I also didn't like the shifts. Wasn't too thrilled with the pay at the time. And I kind of like caring for a patient from start to finish and being able to see them recover. I like some closure. I do like closure, and I don't know if when you're in the ED you get that kind of closure. So that's my short answer. Jason's agreeing that John's decision to start asking questions before he even starts nursing school is awesome. Gail said she loved critical care. She wants either ICU or cardiac care. Adrian is mimicking me. Thanks, Adrian. I appreciate you mimicking me for verbatim. Yes, I'm very predictable. Ashley's she was a inpatient psych RN for 5 years before becoming an FNP. It's difficult change, but it's worth it. Watching she was getting burned out in psych, so it is very possible, but it's going to take a lot of work sometimes. Adrian says, remember reading something somewhere, Benner stage. If you go from different nursing type, it takes 3 years to become competent, and when you start a new top, you're considered a novice. I know this because I missed this on the fundamentals exam. I'm not going to argue with you, Adrian. I dare even say I remember the Benner stages. 3 years to become competent? I don't know if I would go with 3 years. I think that is completely based on the nurse themselves and your learning style. I think we all can agree that some people pick up concepts like that. Other people, they take a while. And I think it really has a lot to do with what you're learning. Without offending anybody, I think we can all agree that learning the ED is a lot different than learning long-term care. And different could be difficult or not difficult. We're going to leave it at that because I don't want to accidentally offend anybody. What GPA did I have when I got accepted in the NP program? Tim, I couldn't tell you. You have to understand something. I was not the traditional student in any way. I went back to school on 3 separate occasions. I had a bachelor's of science in exercise and sports science. Then I went back to school. And at that time, I don't even remember what my GPA was because that was over 20 years ago. Yes, 20 years ago. Then I went back to school, took a bunch of credits, and then got into nursing school. Went into a diploma nursing school. Graduated from the diploma nursing school. Went back to school again and got my BSN. Finished my BSN in about a year. Went back to school again. And then went to my Master's of Science in Nursing to become an acute care nurse practitioner. You're probably asking because of, the baseline requirements that people want when getting into NP school. That completely varies by school, and it is a piece of the puzzle. It is not the end-all to be-all. There are many nurses out there that get into NP school with a bare minimum GPA. I would absolutely recommend that the better the GPA, the higher your chances of getting in. It's really that simple. What else we got here? Jason, what study tips do you have for pharmacology? Dude, memorize. You need to start thinking about real-life applications, and flashcards were huge in my world. Whether you use the physical 3x5 index card or you utilize an online program. I had my iPad at the time. I used my iPad. There was a program on iPad through Evernote. I don't know if it exists anymore. I'm once again showing my age because that was 7+ years ago. But there was a program on Evernote, and I can't remember the name of it. Sorry, but you would have the flashcard would literally be a virtual flashcard on your iPad. You would take the iPad and you'd look at the term or whatever, you'd tap the screen and it would flip around and it would tell you. I'm telling you that flashcards were huge in pharmacology, and unfortunately it is just a hoop you got to jump through. I would learn the basic concepts and try not to get bogged down on the specifics. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Because you got to remember, I have taken more than one pharmacology class, so let's see here. Larry, welcome to the live feed. Gail say, yeah, we do. Talking about ICU nurses versus ER nurses. And Stephen, Calvin, thoughts on a new grad residency in ED. Calvin wants to know thoughts on a new grad residency in the ED. I think new grad residencies are thebomb.com if it fits your lifestyle. Many residencies are not paid. Some are paid only what you would get if you were a nurse's aide. It all depends on where in your schooling you're getting the residency program. Are you getting the residency program when you graduate, or are you doing the residency program like the year before you graduate? Either way, I think residency programs are worth the time and effort if they fit your lifestyle and your budget. Meaning, is it something that can fit in? If you have the opportunity, do it. Period. Done. Because the more you can learn prior to graduating and starting that first job, especially ED, get an ED residency, it's a feather in your cap. You're almost a shoe-in for your first job as a new grad. All right, we're going to scroll quickly here. Do you think new grads get burned out faster when they start in the ER, ICU, Trevor? Absolutely freaking not. It's about the person that starts in the ED or the ICU. My friend, I started in the ICU as a new grad, and it's 15 years later, and I'm an NP working in the ICU. So no, burnout has absolutely nothing to do with the ER, the ICU, the med surge, or whatever specialty you're in. It has everything to do with your coping mechanisms. And you should look that up on all of my social media content. Coping mechanisms, coping mechanisms, coping mechanisms. And thank you. Ann says my vids are great. Amanda says, got into NP and struggling to get back into the groove of studying and writing papers. Any tips? No. And Amanda, I would say that the only tip I can tell you that I can suggest for writing papers is just to write. Just to write and write and write. It sucks. It's sometimes just one of those hoops you got to jump through. Writing was easy for me because I'm a blogger at heart. I've been a blogger for over a decade. Writing's not a problem for me. It's just a necessary evil. I would highly recommend allotting yourself the needed time to write multiple drafts. I don't know many people that have the talent to be able to write a paper in a single sitting. So you're going to have to write a rough draft, a rough draft. Then you're going to have to revise the rough draft and then revise the revised rough draft. You get the point. Maybe you should start blogging. Hint, hint. Blogging helped me a lot when it came to writing papers. I didn't say writing my papers I was great at it and I got straight A's. I'm simply saying writing papers physically was not that hard for me. All right, so Mike, my good friend Mike is leaning into the last part of the broadcast. I'm going to be cutting it short this week because somebody has to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm starting we started a new shift at the beginning of the year at my job. So I'm working 5A to 5P. And I live a certain distance from my job. So I have to get up a little earlier than normal. It says I got to wake up, open the eyes, wipe out the crust, and I got to eat breakfast and have my coffee before I decide to run out the door. So 3 a.m. comes by quickly. I have some great news, and I have some semi-bad news. Let's start with the semi-bad news. The YouTube live schedule that I am attempting to do every Friday is sort of not working out. And it's not the live feed itself. Woo, shaking. The live feed itself is actually pretty awesome. Great engagement. Here's the bad thing. Here's why it's probably going to end. Is that YouTube Live, the comments are not saved in any way. I can't see any of these comments once the live video is published. Once it's saved and it's published onto my YouTube channel, none of the conversations that we're having are saved, which sucks. Because there's great engagement here, and I have no way of going back through the comments and finding out what people were saying so that maybe we could have another conversation or I could do another video or some of the questions in the comments that I missed during the live feed I can go back and look at because I used to do that all the time on Facebook. Facebook Live is a little bit more advanced than YouTube Live. I'm not here to tell you that Facebook's better. I'm simply telling you that Facebook Live is better for engagement. Because ultimately, it's all about me conversing with you guys, conversing with the tribe. And I can't do that with YouTube Live. Is my YouTube channel going to change in any way? No, not in any way. I'm going to keep producing the videos. You're getting a video probably, I think, 3 days a week here. I've been sticking to the Wednesday, Friday, Sunday ordeal. But the YouTube Live thing is kind of stinking. I didn't factor in that, like, I can't go back and look at what you guys are talking about. I can't go back and review everything that, you guys... Adrian, you're kind of... I'm trying to figure out if you're supporting me or if you're mocking me. So maybe you should clarify. Because I think you're mocking me. And it's not very nice. So, thanks. YouTube Live is going to go away. I'm going to do Facebook Live. So those of you that have been hanging out with me on Fridays to engage in the live streaming on Friday nights, the Friday night live streaming is going to head over onto my Facebook fan page. If you don't know how to find my Facebook fan page, send me a message. Go to any of my social media sites and you'll find them. You can go to Facebook and type in Sean Dent. Very easy. I'm going to keep doing the Friday live video streaming. Same time, yes, Nicole, same time. Every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll do live broadcasting. We're going to hop on over to Facebook because Facebook has a better way for me to engage with the tribe, a better way for me to engage with everybody that is interested in having a conversation. Everybody that wants to have a conversation not only with me, but also other members of the tribe. Because once again, all the awesome comments and the conversation that we're having here right now on the live feed, for those of you that are catching this on the record, it disappears. The live feed disappears. So I'm kind of bummed about that. We'll adjust. We're going to keep doing the live videos every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Going to be on Facebook, gang. That's the oh-so moderately bad news. The great news is what my good friend Mike, Dr. Mike was suggesting is you asked and I answered. Everybody's been asking where they can find all of my questions that I answer, all of the Hey Sean questions that I answer. Guess what? I created a website. From now on, if you're interested in finding any questions that I have answered, or you're interested in asking a question for me to answer on the Hey Sean series, go to heysean.info. heysean.info. Or you can just type in Hey Sean and you'll find it. On heysean.info's website, you're going to see all the questions that I've answered. You're going to see a search bar that you can search the topic that you're interested in. You can actually submit questions to me on the contact form. You can search by not only categories, but by topics. Say you're interested in something about the NCLEX. Go into the search bar on the website, type in NCLEX, and all the questions that I've answered that mention the word NCLEX will be there. If you're interested in learning about all the questions I've answered for pre-nursing students, I have an entire category labeled pre-nursing student. A category labeled nursing student, category for nurse life, category for career advice. Everything you wanted to know about the questions that I answer, all in one place. It's still in its infancy. I'm still literally creating it from scratch. So far, I have added all of the videos from YouTube onto the site. Now I'm going to start adding the videos that I have on my Facebook fan page onto the site. And any questions that you have, I'm going to answer them either in text or video form, and they're going to go on the website. So I hope that you'll check it out. To review, first things first, if you're going to change your specialty, be prepared to work. All depends on how far along you are in your career and what work you're willing to do to get there. It is not impossible, but it's not easy. Second thing, YouTube Live Fridays are now going to go to Facebook. So it's still going to be a live broadcast every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be on the Facebook fan page. Head on over to Facebook. Find me on Facebook. Like my page so that you get the notifications about what's up on Facebook and what I got going on. If you're interested in asking me a question you want answered, head on over to my website, heysean.info. That is heysean.info. Or just type in heysean.info. It'll come up that way too. And last but not least, always, 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 if you are able to, head on over to my Patreon page and support me over on Patreon. Anything that you can donate is going to help me to create cooler content for you. All the stuff that I do, including the website, costs me a little bit of money. And I'm looking to break even, folks. Just looking to break even. Trying to just cut down on the amount of money I spend to provide everything that we do. Tons of free content, 400 plus free videos, all kinds of other stuff, completely free of charge. Asking for a little bit of donations if you can. Thanks for hanging out with me on the live feed. Don't forget to like this video. Head on to my website, SeanDent.com. Check out everything you want to know about me. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. And what do we say at the end of all of our videos? And as always, check your own pulse first.